Born ready.
Okay, this is a special meeting of the Fraser Park Public Utility District on Thursday, October 6th. We are beginning at 6:03. Roll call. Oh, that's your thought. Ready? Begin.
Everybody wanted to come.
Would you?
No.
Okay, roll call. Director Garcia,
Here.
Director Nyman,
Here.
Director Schellenberg, Director Kelly here. Gibson, I'm here. Discussion vote on adjusting the agenda if necessary. Is there something we have to do? Mr. Garcia?
I would like to move that we add an item to the agenda due to the need to take immediate action. And the need for that action can be attention of local agencies subsequent to the agenda being posted. And that item would be added would be discussion vote update on drilling of well 7.
I'll second that. Okay, motion has been made by Director Garcia and seconded by Director Schellenberg. Roll call directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schellenberg. Aye. Director Kelly. Aye. Gibson is aye, 5-0-0. So where are we gonna put it in the agenda?
Here, I guess.
I think we should do it right after public comments.
Okay. So, public comments, items listed on the agenda. This limited to 5 minutes. No public comments. And so let's take up that item that we just added to the agenda. Dr. Schoen?
Okay, so. Driller can drill all night, they're down to about 90 feet, probably more now, probably 100. We had to turn off well 5. And the way, give you a little background first, the way they keep the hole open, first hole they drill is 18 inches around, and they'll punch that down all the way down to depth, like 450 feet or 500 feet. The way they keep the hole open is they use drilling mud. And the drilling mud holds the dirt back while they're drilling so it doesn't all cave in. When we were running well 5, what it's doing is it's directly influencing and sucking the water from well 7, getting rid of that drilling mud, which will cause a collapse and a cave in. That can't work. So Fraser Well and Pump, they sent up a different type of medium. It's supposed to work better. It swells and sticks to the pores. So we thought that was going to work. So they put that in. We had to wait until it stabilized and because literally they fill the hole with water when you're drilling, and it was losing water out of well 7 hole. So, which that could happen anytime you're redrilling a well. So they tried the new stuff, and then we tried to cut back the
That's
production.
all bentonite by any chance?
It is one of the things is bentonite. That's the initial thing that they're using. Then we use a different stuff, but so what we tried to do was after they got that line and they got it stabilized and stop losing water, we tried to cut the production from well 5 from 200 gallons a minute to 50 gallons a minute. Throttling the valves down to see if maybe we could. We run anywhere from 70,000 gallons a day to over 100,000 gallons a day through well 5. Long and the short of it is, it didn't work. It did the same thing. There's no way we could do it. So a couple of things have to happen. One, I ordered water homing tomorrow, and every day until we're done.
One more.
Lebec's going to sell us up to 50,000 gallons a day. Gorman will sell us the rest that we need. We're hoping that Lebec will discover that next week, because they have Monday off because of the holiday, when their operator could be on site and monitor the well on a day-to-day basis, they may be able to sell us whatever we need, the whole 100,000 or 70 or whatever we need. Just from that well, it's going to be cheaper because it's going to be faster getting it from Lebec than it will be from Gorman. Gorman typically charges more, but when I called them today, they're matching Lebec's price, which is $20 for every 750 gallons or 748 gallons of water. So D is hoping that we expedite the whole drilling process in the meantime, and we potentially get it done in 10 days. So through the course of 10 days, we figured roughly it cost us as much as $60,000 to haul water. So we put it 60,000. 60,000 to haul water. So D said there's no reason why that should not be counted as a part of the drilling. It's an effect that we wouldn't have unless it was drilling the well. So we put it in a call to Lawrence Sanchez. To my knowledge, he has yet to return our call, even though I marked it as urgent. D explained it all on the message to him when he was sitting here and telling him. And so we're hoping that by tomorrow we'll get confirmation from Lawrence that that'll just be folded into the cost of drilling the well. In the meantime, we're gonna have to do a lot of monitoring and making sure that it's we're pulling enough water. Tomorrow I could only get one truck, which we'll be able to get through that. By Saturday and Sunday, we should have 2 or 3 trucks running nonstop throughout the day.
And where are you gonna deposit those?
And well 5.
Right in the hole?
No, in the tank at well 5.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't put it in the hole. So it's gonna go to the tank. And the reason it has to go to the tank is because not only do we have to feed well 5's area, but we always have to supplement well 6's area. And the way we do that is by turning on the boosters at boosters 3 and 4 at well 5. So by putting it in the tank there, we'll be able to supplement it here.
Up and Jesse, when we need, or we thought about how we can monitor the water that's being deposited in.
Well, Jesse hasn't even been informed of this yet. We're talking to Lawrence because it's a financial thing currently, but I will call Jesse and tell him. But the water that we're getting is monitored already by the state, by the water quality that Lebec has to do, who is Jess is also their regulator. And then Gorman is regulated by LA County Department of Public Health. And they're just, they're under the state. The state still has the guidelines. So everybody's still required to do all their back tees and all their safety stuff. And the water hauler is a certified water hauler. Luckily, he's the same guy I used when the nitrates first came about. And he's cutting us slack on costs. He said he appreciates the work and that he doesn't want to gouge us. It's like, he said, I won't even charge you anything extra for the water. So Jessica Carroll called me and said, hey, Johnny, I want you to know, he said that he wasn't going to charge you anything extra, but it's going to cost $20 per 100 cubic feet. And she just wanted me to be aware, and the hauler, that's what he told me. So it's being on the up and up. He's giving us, a break. He's going to make money, of course, but he's not trying to gouge us because we're in need.
But there is an issue on the transfer part when you take it out of the water hauler to the tank.
It is all, it's all part of they have to be certified to haul potable water and to get it here safe. Jesse may want us to periodically do
Testing.
more back tees or something, but another aspect of it is letting Jesse know is we're gonna have to issue a notice. I think you guys have to vote on it. Tiffany drafted a notice in record time. I think we need to shut down all outside watering entirely and ask people to conserve, because whatever people are dumping on the lawns, we have to pay to haul to dump in there, and which is fine as long as we could keep up, but I'm concerned that we'll be able to keep up.
how much is one truckload of water hold?
Anywhere from 3,200 gallons to 3,700 gallons per truck. So we're looking at 30 truckloads a day. When we need 100,000 gallons. When you look at the production logs, some days they have been less. One thing that may help us is next week, we're supposed to get much lower temperatures in the high 60s, I think. So hopefully that'll cut back on water demand and it'll help us. Another issue that may have to be addressed, and we don't know how Jess is going to handle this, is we plan on doing at least one zone test to see where to set the seal. Now it's such a risk of the hole falling in. The thought is we don't, again, Jesse may make us do one zone test. And what I had told D is if we do only one zone test to get this done fast. Is we do it at where we think we're gonna set the seal, which should be 150 feet. If we're gonna set it at 150, do one zone test at 150, prove there's no nitrates there. But in the meantime, we took water that was pumping today straight out of the new well and had that rushed down to the lab, to BC Labs, and in 2 days, we're gonna find out what the nitrates are currently in the new well. So if that comes back good, then we'll have a lot more confidence in doing this, because the driller is worried. Longer the hole is open, the more chances of caving in before we get it cased. So one thing they may do is when they get the 18-inch hole punched all the way down to the bottom, then they have to order the casing, the perforations. Before they order the casings, they'll dump gravel probably down in the hole, and the gravel will hold the hole open. At that time, we'd be able to run well 5 again. Then when they're ready, when they have the casing ready, which they're hoping will only take a week to get the casing. When that's ready, they'll just drill all the gravel out with the bigger bit, the much bigger bit, and go to drill it all down, pull it out, and then they'll case it. Once it's cased, long before we ever put it online, we'll be able to run well 5 again, because nothing can fall in, nothing can hurt. So
But once it's cased, and then I'll have gravel around the outside of the casing?
the gravity pack, and that's something else that has to be ordered, but Bakersfield Well and Pump today said that they thought that it would be available, readily available for that, but yeah, and that's what has to be done to keep the soil back, as it collapse in, so we're actively working on it, and unfortunately it happened. One thought was maybe we should push for drilling where well 8 is, but we never got a hold of Alan to ask what the likelihood of that is. The thought is that since they have had no advance notice, that would be problematic. So that's why we're trying to do the best we can with what we got.
With something.
Yeah. Always something. And in the meantime, we had another leak on Summit. It ran all the way down Los Padres today, so while I'm telling people that they have to conserve water.
Or use the water.
Yeah, we could have a leak that people are gonna see, like it took 2 hours for the locator to get here today. Couldn't do anything until they got here. Luckily, we had it clamped within 10 minutes after gas company got here, but that's rare. The only reason it's so quick is because we've been in on that pipe so many times, we know right where it's at. So that's our update.
So do we need to discuss this on?
Do we need to take any action or what?
Tomorrow, I'll have to call Jesse. I want to be part of that. I'll call Jesse and let him know, particularly about, it's really not under his jurisdiction for us to limit outdoor watering. Matter of fact, the state likes that.
Well, I thought we were already at that.
No, we let
Yeah,
people
2
water
days.
2 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's gonna help that much, because I don't see that much water happening. Anyway, there's very few lawns in town. There are some, very few.
It's mostly people trying to water their roses and their garden and
Trees.
their tree and.
Yeah, like I said, I've lost 4 trees out of my big mature awesome trees because of the drought, so. I don't wanna do that, but that's gonna be up to you guys, how strenuously go with the snow. Like I said, it was just a rough draft. But if you guys, whatever note you guys approve, I'll try to get it out. Starting tomorrow. We'll see.
Do we need someone to make a motion?
Not on this part. I think there's a line item for the
There's not.
So basically, what are we looking at? We need 3 trucks of water a day to maintain our needs.
what? How many?
30.
No, 30.
Oh, gee.
And we don't even know for sure, because you go over last month's production log. Some days we used 125,000 gallons, some days we use 76, or 35,000 or 42,000. It changes each day. Some days it may be easy to meet that demand, some days it's gonna be impossible to keep that. demand. You gotta keep the trucks running and try to keep everything going as good as we can. Before we could open up valve and we would feed from well 6. Pressure zone to Parker B's, fill Parker B. Now we can't afford the well. I look back a week. The training, well 6 hasn't shut off except for one time when the guy shut it off, do their pump test. Hasn't shut off for a full week. It runs 24 hours a day. For weeks on end, so.
Where's this? Where's this?
Well, 6 hours
yeah.
on the other well. So we can't borrow any water from well 6 to feed the lower part of town. We have to do it entirely from hauling water.
Is there a reason why we couldn't have anticipated that we would have this potential?
There's no way, you could drill a well 50 feet away. And not have any problems. Often, but part of our blessing is the curse that's happening right now, the way I understand it. Ideally, you want sandy, small gravel rocks for your aquifer to have water, to get the water out. Well, since we have exactly that condition, it's easier for the other well to influence the new well because it's basically like a perfect sponge. And if you suck on one side of the sponge, it's gonna come bring the water from the other side. I mean, it's just the way it works.
Sure.
So it's like well 6 and well 4. We had the same issue, but not as bad. But if you sound well 6, when you have the wire down the hole and you're sounding well 6, if you were to turn on well 4, it instantly drops the water in well 6. Because you're pulling off the same pool of water, same aquifer. So we thought by reducing it to 50 gallons a minute that would work, but it didn't. So.
Question then, if we're gonna put, well, 8. Kind of in the same place.
Well, we're gonna put it much farther away. It's like, 1,000 feet away as opposed to 60. So. That's different. And. We're also the same distance away from CNC's existing well. Which when we were pumping the first one, when we were doing the test well, they would have been bitching about their well being affected. So once we get it cased and we could run well 5 again, then we'll be good. But so far the drilling's been good. They hit one rock last night. They had to get through, but for the most part, it's gone well. And we probably, from what I hear from different people, we probably got the 2 best drillers in the San Joaquin Valley with working. One of them's been doing it for 25 years. And he's supposed to really be top notch. So we got the best people on it and nobody anticipated. But what I've heard a million times, even going back to well 6, is when you're drilling a well, there is 0 guarantees about anything. You never know what you're gonna hit because you can't see through the ground. So you never know.
Thank you.
You just gotta hope for the best. Water quality, you could be fine in one well and then have something wrong in your new well. And there's nothing that you could do to foresee that. So that's my update. So now I guess everybody can read the notice that we need to issue and decide if that's what you want. I don't think it's gonna help a huge amount if people typically don't feel like to
Well, I'm just wondering, in this letter, did we mention the fact that we're gonna have to haul water because people are gonna see them trucks and they're gonna be. He's paying a lot.
we could add the part that I don't have another copy of
I think we need to,
at least I don't see it. See the 2 letters from
it's in there. With,
well, I probably carried it away.
there's a cycle in Fraser Park.
Yeah, we got it.
I know.
We got it, you got it.
Yeah, so, yeah, I would agree. I think at the end of, conserve water as much as possible, and I would put, in order to, keep the community and water, we're gonna have to haul water from Quebec and Gorman. So that will let them know, and I already informed the newspaper, the reporter that wrote one of the stories that's in the paper. We have 2 articles in the paper. reference us. That she needed to call me tomorrow. And I would give her an update on hauling water and stuff, so they could put something in next Thursday's paper, and they'll put something on their website. To notify people, we could put something on our website. As well, that we're hauling water, so everybody's not losing their minds.
could we say something about, you know, when we're hauling water, that, you know, it's costing extra money, and so people need to conserve.
No. I mean,
Well, they don't.
I think,
they're
I
gonna
think,
care.
I think just by the nature of hauling water there, everybody's gonna know it's costing money. I really don't wanna put a dollar amount, so people will be throwing a fit about that as well. I mean, it obviously costs money to haul water. Especially that many loads a day. And we're kind of lucky right now that we can even haul water, to be honest with you. The two haulers I called said, yeah, we're just lucky right now that we don't have all our trucks tied up on fires. So, thankfully, they have some available for us.
They come out of
I
Bakersfield.
think you need
I'm sure.
I think you need dates on when this is approximate.
But we don't know. I mean. If,
Oh, you need
if,
to
if we
end?
don't-
Starting immediately.
Starting immediately.
Yeah, I know, but they're not gonna, we'll be gonna drill a new well, so I mean, I think it needs to say something about. Why, like, it's just not normal that. Normally, when you drill a well, people aren't gonna understand it.
Well, one thing we discovered. Blatantly, the biggest thing I hear about the nitrate notices and why nobody reads them. Is because they're too long. Anything that's got too much verbiage. People stop reading it the second they see it and they throw it in the trash. So I thought keeping it very brief. Was our best bet. Anybody that has questions can call. Anybody that has questions can call us. And get information, and we'll tell them.
I don't feel like it's understandable enough, so they're just gonna be like, oh, they're trying to conserve water. I don't think that they're gonna understand. Why, and I'm not saying we get like a lot
Well, we
longer.
put in there why, because we can't run well 5 while we're
Okay.
drilling the new well.
Need to haul water.
We just have, we need to haul water. To take up the slack, then that tells everybody exactly what it is.
Right.
And we're hoping it's 10 days, but what if it takes longer to get the casing or the drilling in and takes a month, and everybody's gonna say, you told me it was gonna be 20 days or 10 days, and it's not.
That's fine, but you can say something like, this is going to occur for approximately a month, while the well's being drilled.
That's
You,
fine.
you gotta ask about hauling water.
I think you have to add about how the water. too.
Right after, visiting as much water as possible.
Yeah.
But at this point, we'll be hauling. 100
Yeah, and we would have
gallons a day.
We would have actually added that, but like I said, I was in and out with D all day, and then I asked Tiffany, hey, can you draft something real quick? Can you draft something for me? And she like pulled that out of thin air, and we knew we were gonna have to revise it.
That's fine. And I think it
Almost
should
everything.
say more than water conservation. Notice, because it's. Like they've had water conservation notices, because we're in an emergency, like we have that little sign, and everything, I think it just needs to say. Like emergency or something, it needs to say
Water
something.
emergency conservation.
Yeah, so that it really, that it changes the nature of it, it's not just the same with water conservation, it's like they need
What
to.
it costs a little bit, we add red,
Need to.
make people actually. We're gonna have to have people going door to door to post it, and hopefully some people actually will look at it.
It's interesting to see that this is a limited time, that there's a.
Yeah, it's not gonna be
Time.
7
That
years.
we're having to haul water right now, and that's why it's happening, and that it's an emergency measure because there were issues.
It's the next thing people. Oh, maybe we can take over licking the woods, and we don't even have enough water for ourselves, so.
Exactly, and you guys already took all the water out of the pond, now what are you gonna have, whatever.
So that's how I put it, for a limited time when we're drilling well 5.
Yeah.
or we're drilling the new well, you have to haul water.
Emergency, yeah.
How about adding something like we will, at the end of, vigilant, conserve as much water as possible, period. We will need to supplement our sources by hauling water.
That could be, but it's more of a supplement, it's replacing, so it's.
Okay, to replace.
To replace the loss of water from, our old well.
It's just a minor thing, but I think that after our phone number telling them that they could contact our office, we ought to put our hours of operation.
I think so too, they're all gonna be calling like.
Friday morning.
The,
I mean, yeah, when we've been in here on
Answer,
our
so-
hands, the phone rings all the time
yeah.
and Saturday.
Between such and such a time, Monday through Thursday.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll try it. See if they, care.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you gotta give them the information. We just have to hope that they read it and they pay attention.
Yeah.
Even though we know the reality. Most things.
Director Schoenberg?
So I'd like to move that with the amendments that we offered, that we put into place an emergency water conservation.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion has been made by Director Schoenberg and seconded by Director Nyman. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
I,
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson, I 500, motion passed.
actually, I have an amendment to that you need to accept, and that you guys need to accept. It needs to say, the emergency water conservation notice while the well 7 is being drilled.
That's perfect.
Accept that.
I still say it.
So we don't need to vote again, right?
You didn't get what they
We
said?
all say aye.
Yeah, yeah.
They missed the thing, yeah. Okay.
Did you catch that, what you said?
Okay,
Okay, number, well, I guess it's number 5 now, discussion vote.
No,
on the
no more.
No,
Four, still on four. We hadn't gotten four yet.
I know, but we inserted one, so didn't that?
we
add
insert
an
the
item to our
public
agenda?
comment.
Okay, number 4, discussion vote on the letters of intent to purchase the production well properties for well 8 and well 9.
And who's sending these out? Us or D?
Tiffany would be more precise.
There's a typo. As representatives of CNC Elite Properties are aware from correspondence. You are aware or. Some. As representative of CNC Elite Properties,
You are aware.
You are aware.
Go.
our correspondence and litigation dating back to 2021. For this from the correspondence, CNC's predecessor in interest. License agreement with the Fraser Park Public Utility District, the cover of which is important for
That seems good, and
Personally, I'm happy about sending this letter. They've been, very, problematic for us and not a nice.
yeah, I ran into Ramon.
Yeah.
Who's no longer with them.
He's got nothing nice to say about him.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He says that the gal is the main operator and he's just a figurehead.
But they also don't want us to sift dirt at Main Vista. And then when we were trying to hurry up and get that done, his caretaker came out and told Jose that he has to leave. And when I texted Carlos and asked him to let them know what we're doing, he said, well, you have no rights over there except for the well. And you need to discuss with me about what you're doing. I said, well, fine, we'll pull our sifter box out of there. I said it nicely. All right, no problem. We'll pull our sifter box out and we'll just leave the dirt. Of course, he ain't gonna let that happen when there's asphalt and rock and stuff that has to be hauled out, but he's being very problematic. His caretaker threatened to lock us out of the gate, which I believe is our gate. I believe we put it in and we got a sign hanging right on the gate. So,
I don't know, they've replaced it.
our sign's still on it,
Oh, okay.
same gate.
Because it looks like. I mean. Since they took all that stuff down,
Same gate,
oh, is it? Okay.
Well, we'll just cut it off. We have an easement, right?
yeah, to get through, yeah, we would.
I,
if
I think it needs to say exercise its right to obtain a well site and easement, it doesn't mention the easement.
Well, we'll see,
It's
see.
reference property, yeah, you can't just purchase a well site, we need the easement as well.
It says
It says that-
exercise this option. these
And then
benefits-
where it's gonna be-
Either purchase, no, it needs to, above that. It can't just say that we're gonna acquire a well site, we need to acquire a well site and the easement to access it.
So who wrote this letter?
It's right to obtain a. Gonna exercise our right to obtain a well site and necessary easements.
And the necessary easements to access that well site.
Well, and not to, I'd say just easements, because if you say access to, then you gotta also point out the pipeline easements.
Right.
So if you just say and easements,
And the necessary
Necessary
easements
easements, then-
associated with them.
yeah, then that,
With above reference property.
that makes sense. And the same thing would be up top, on.
It needs to say in both places. Say in the intention to purchase, it needs to say in the serving notice, it needs to say it at the bottom where it says the letter serves as an required written notice. Because it's not just an exercise, it's option either purchase and fee or acquire from an easement. For the well site, it's purchase and fee. Or to acquire a permanent easement for the well site and associated easement. And I think we have to do the same thing on this one, because this one has a bunch of easements as well.
I think, yeah, well. Difference on this one is, so we're dealing with entirely different pieces.
Yeah, but you might as well spell it out. Did you write these or did Dave?
Dee and Alan. Went through them, back and forth.
That's why it-
He was on the hill day,
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
well, projects, well, on the.
I don't think he even touched on another project. We had our hands full with the. Well. Matt's always here. His engineer is always here, or most of the time here, and then for the pipeline.
I haven't heard that man.
Yeah, he's like a junior engineer that's inside.
Director Schoenberg?
So I'd like to move that we approve the letters with the mentioned amendments. With running it by the ad hoc one more time or by. Is the ad hoc okay, or do you need to run it by the whole board to make this double check the wording, so.
I think we have time crunch.
Yeah.
We have to get it out.
Okay,
before
so with the,
Be down to like just days from our limit, yeah, so.
okay, so I'd like to. Well, then we could still prove it on the next board meeting.
I mean, if you're approving the letter with those simple amendments, I mean, Tiffany's fully capable of, adding what you just said, so it's not like. It's anything have to be reread again, and Becky's gonna sign it, so she's gonna get a chance to read it at that point. And if an ad hoc looks it over, and then Becky has to sign it, is that a stereo meeting? Because now there'll be 3 board members involved. She can just proofread it, if it says what you wanted it to say, then it should be good, right? Send it.
Would you like to run it through your ad hoc first?
I don't think we can, I think it's very considered meeting. Well, no, if you're just signing something,
It's simple verbiage though, I mean, it's one sentence that has to be added to. the
it's not,
request.
yeah, but then, well, yeah. I just wanna double check, otherwise I don't see why we can't approve it on the. I'm gonna strike my motion, I think we should just approve it on the third meeting. We have enough time to send it to them if we send it certified.
I'm off
Tiffany,
the following week from the 17th to the 20th.
Yeah.
If we prove it on the 13th, you won't be able to get it out. Or get Becky's signature.
Yeah, that's why it's decided, you can come in, for money, get it out. It's just such a simple thing, it's only one extra sentence to be added.
It's not, yeah, but it's never a simple thing, and I think it's. We're gonna have problems with this, so it needs to be really tough. It needs to be.
Well, we're gonna this period, I can just send it. It's
Yeah.
just gonna take you.
Send it to Lisa and then first time. You can do that.
Okay, so I'll move that we approve the 2 letters with intention to purchase. For both the Wainwright French property and the CNC property. With the amendments mentioned, and it'll be sent one more time to proofreading to myself, and then Director Gibson will sign it and we'll send them.
I'll second that motion.
okay, a motion has been made by Director Schoenberg and seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
I guess I'll abstain since I'm the one that's.
Okay.
but-
Director Kelly.
Aye.
So Gibson is
So
an
you're
aye,
doing
so
that?
it's 4-0, one
Yeah.
abstention.
I guess I can't say.
Oh, geez, okay.
So it'll be 500.
That's fine. As long as the board's okay with it.
Yeah,
5-0-0, motion passed. Number 5. Discussion vote on moving forward with a resolution for the intention to purchase the production well property or easement. Should it be and easement?
Well, no, because it's well property or easement, so we're either purchasing the property or easement and associated, so it needs to say. It just doesn't have it, the associated easement stuff. We don't have that actual resolution though. so-
No, we didn't know we had to have one.
Yeah, we're still not sure. Alan seemed to think we didn't need one, but I'm a little confused, so I think we should have one anyway. But I don't think we need,
Then anytime we purchased anything, we need a resolution to do it.
I think it's just a good idea that we have resolutions for things like that when it's a big deal like this.
Yeah, we're expanding the
So
holdings, of the company.
I would say that we should have a resolution that we vote on the 13th. So I'd like to move that we ask Tiffany to, and I'll make myself available if you wanna run it by me to run it by somebody, or you can run by both, 2 of us. or-
Does Tiffany do it or does Alan do it?
Yeah, would Alan do it? Because he was gonna do it. Well, I think, yeah, Alan probably needs to do it, you're right, Alan, or we do it initially and then give it to him to approve. I don't know, what do you feel about that?
Well, Alan was.
I think we have,
Why
I
we
think we
needed
can
it.
just have Alan do
Yeah.
it. Okay, so okay, so strike everything. I move that we ask our attorney, Alan Dowd, to move forward with a resolution for the intention to purchase the production well property or easement and associated easements.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion has been made by Director Schoenberg and seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of
Oh,
directors.
I'm sorry, I need to add one thing to that, the friendly amendment, available to vote on by the 13th.
Accept that amendment? Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia. Director Nyman,
aye.
Director Schoenberg. Aye. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Gibson, I 5-0-0. Okay. Number 6, discussion review, vote on the employee handbook.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
I'll
that's
read
over here.
last one reading and
Where we at?
page 38.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, Eric Pearson said that we're really doing this, entirely backwards. He said, typically, you just send it to the attorney, he makes all the changes and all the legalese and everything. And then, answers any questions to anything, else, but he said he'll redo it again, and then after we make our changes and he makes his changes, then it'll come back again, and then you guys can approve it.
Karen Showman,
Yeah, I'm gonna move that we go through tonight. And with any of the not legal stuff, any of the questions we have about. Anything else that comes up as far as conduct or anything like that, or. And that we send it to Jerry Pearson for his changes, and that we meet one more time to approve it.
Why would we meet one more time?
Because we're gonna need to read like whatever changes he made. Or unless you think we can approve it on a meeting, but it never seems to happen.
Well, for the things that Tiffany's made notes on. Those things could just be reviewed, but all of the rest of the stuff, the legalese stuff, if it's just laws that have changed. And it's changed, then there's really no reason to go back over all of that. Because it's just stuff that's gotta be in the book anyway, so. Things like cashing out time and the things that were somewhat controversial, just review those. After he makes his changes, and that should go quickly.
I know, but I'm saying we probably just need to like do it like this. And we can add whatever stuff we need to do, so.
So anyway, I said I was reading at that.
So that
point.
was. so that-
Oh, sorry.
so the motion,
Okay, so we have no motion to send it to him, and no motion, someone else wanna make another. Motion about how this is gonna move forward,
We're gonna read it, that's what we're gonna do.
but we still need,
You want a second check of the change? Back.
well, you also need to say that we're gonna send it to Jerry Pearson and have him add all the legal stuff, so if someone else can make the motion and send it away if you need something.
Why can't we do that after we read it all? Let's
Okay.
get through it and then we can motion what we're gonna do with it.
So I was trying to volunteer to continue reading unless someone else does it.
No, go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Okay, prohibited conduct. Employees are expected to conduct themselves in a manner to further the district's objectives. The following conduct is prohibited and will not be tolerated by the district. The list of prohibited conduct is illustrative only. Other types of conduct that threaten security, personal safety, employee welfare, and district operations also may be prohibited and will result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. Falsifying employment records, employment information, or other district records. Inefficient or careless performance of job responsibilities or inability to perform job duties satisfactorily. Recording the work time of another employee or allowing any other employee to record your work time, or falsifying any time card, either your own or another employee's. Theft and deliberate or careless damage or destruction of any district property or the property of an employee or customer. Removing or borrowing district property without prior authorization. Unauthorized use or misuse of district equipment, time, materials, or facilities. Provoking a fight or fighting during working hours or on district property. Participating in horseplay or practical jokes on district time or on district premises. Carrying firearms or any other dangerous weapons on district premises at any time. Engaging in criminal conduct, whether or not related to job performance. Causing, creating, or participating in inappropriate disruption of any kind during working hours on district property. Insubordination, including but not limited to failure or refusal to obey the orders of instructions of a supervisor or member of management, or the use of abusive or threatening language toward a supervisor or member of management. Using abusive, threatening, or intimidating language at any time on district premises. Violation of district punctuality and attendance policies. Absences protected by state or federal law do not count as violations of this policy. Protected paid sick time under California law does not count as a violation of this policy. Failing to obtain permission to leave work for any reason during normal working hours, not including meal periods. Failing to observe working schedules, including rest and lunch periods. Sleeping or malingering on the job. Making or accepting personal telephone calls, including cell phone calls, except in cases of emergency or extreme circumstances. Working overtime without authorization or refusing to work assigned overtime. Violation of dress standards. Violating any safety, health, security, or district policy rule, procedure, or violation of the district's drug and alcohol policy. Committing a fraudulent act or breach of trust under any circumstance. Violating the district's anti-harassment or equal employment opportunity policies, and failing to promptly report work-related injury or illness. This statement of prohibited conduct does not alter the district policy of at-will employment. Either you or the district remain free to terminate the employment relationship at any time, with or without reason or advance notice.
Can I stop on that?
Yes.
I'd like to see another bullet point in here added that has to do with the trucks and using the trucks for unauthorized. Taking them
It's already in here, it's the,
it doesn't really spell it out well.
oh, it says district property. See exactly where it is.
For personal use.
I just like to spell it out. It doesn't really spell it out in a really plain and simple way. I think the one that you were pointing out. has to do with-
Borrowing district property without prior authorization. So anyway, yeah, add it.
How do you want it to say?
I got wrote something up, trucks, equipment, not to be used for personal use.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what you're getting.
I mean, backhoes too, so that's good. Perfect.
Okay. Prohibited use. Prohibited use of district cell phone while driving. It is the interest of the safety of our employees and other drivers. District employees are prohibited from using cell phones, including all smartphones, while driving on district business and or.
Okay,
district
I have a
time.
correction on that, let's take out district. And the heading, just leave it as prohibited use of cell phone while driving.
Yeah. because
Oh.
And then
they're having-
add on there, unless hands-free device. Is all the trucks have Bluetooth hands-free device. They use their own personal phones. Because that's the deal we made, so. Okay, so after.
Okay, prohibited use of cell phone while driving.
We have Bluetooth on all the trucks, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So just add it, unless on a hands-free device.
At the end.
And then
Oh, it says it already on the next page.
so,
If your job requires that you keep your cell phone turned on while you're driving with a hands-free device, which will be provided by the district, then in those circumstances, should employees place phone calls while operating a motor vehicle while driving on district business or district time, not driving.
well, you take out the, which will be provided by the district, because we don't do that anymore. Now we just make them use hands-free devices in the trucks.
Yeah,
But the trucks are provided by the,
Yeah, but I mean,
hands-free device. Yeah, I think you should move it.
Okay. Writing, sending, or reading text-based communication including text messages, instant messages, email, web browsing, and use of smartphone applications on any wireless device or cell phone while driving is also prohibited under this policy. Violation of this policy is violation of law and district policy. Punctuality and attendance. As an employee of the district, you're expected to be punctual and regular in attendance. Any tardiness or absence causes
I
problem.
have a question, can we go back?
Where are you at?
On the Bluetooth. I know in my car, if someone texts me, I can hit. A button and it will play the text. I don't wanna answer it and I don't wanna. But I can actually hear what the text message is while I'm driving, just to make sure it's not an emergency. So I think they should be allowed to do that. If we
No, I
have
don't
it on
think
the
so.
card, so.
I think we
First
should,
of all, I think everybody's just gonna,
But
do that anyway, but if you have it in there and then say somebody gets in a wreck. And they were doing something like that at the time, it's in the handbook already. To not do it, so if you do it and you get in trouble and. Get a wreck or something because you're not paying attention, then we have it where we told you not to do that.
I don't think.
But that's
I
not
don't
any
think we
different
should
than answering a call, because when you answer a call on your Bluetooth, you have to hit a button.
Okay, anyway, I mean.
I think I don't think that we need to have that in.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty plain that you should be worrying about work. Really, they really only need to be talking to me and
Okay. Punctuality and attendance. As an employee of the district, you are expected to be punctual and regular in attendance. Any tardiness or absence causes problems for your fellow employees and your supervisor. When you are absent, your assigned work must be performed by others. Employees are expected to report to work as scheduled on time and prepared to start work. Employees also are expected to remain at work for their entire work schedule except for meal periods or when required to leave unauthorized district business. Late arrivals, early departures, or other unanticipated and unapproved absences from scheduled hours are disruptive and must be avoided. If you are unable to report for work on any particular day, you must provide reasonable advance notice to the general manager before the time you are scheduled to begin working for that day. You must inform the general manager of the expected duration of any absence. If you fail to provide reasonable advance notice before your scheduled time to begin work and do not arrive in time for your assigned shift, you will be considered tardy for that day. If the circumstances for your tardiness or absence were unforeseen, inform the general manager as soon as practicable and of the reason for your tardiness or absenteeism. Excessive absenteeism or tardiness, providing false information or abuse of leave laws will not be tolerated. Generally, if you fail to report for work without any notification to the general manager and your absence continues for a period of 3 days, the district will consider that you have voluntarily abandoned or quit your employment. Absences protected by local, state, federal law do not count as a violation of the punctuality and attendance policy. Paid sick time protected under California law does not count as a violation of the policy. Wages. Work schedules. Someone says, believe I've changed this before. Is that, whose note is that?
fine.
Okay. The district is normally open for business between the hours of 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. You will be assigned your individual work schedule. The district has a.
Director Schoenberg has something to say.
So I believe that that's a problem because we're doing 4 days a week and it's supposed to be 10 hours and not.
Yeah.
4 hours and 4 hours.
We need an additional line that says. Certain employees work from 6 o'clock till 5 o'clock. 10-hour days, because the front desk works till 5. She doesn't work 10-hour days.
And she has an hour.
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah. So we just need to add a line. That some employees will be assigned 10-hour days.
Is
with
she
an
the
hour
only
lunch break.
one? Cause there's only something like different company.
Huh?
You take an
So-
hour or half.
This is her lunch? In an hour?
Uh,
So this
Everybody
is,
takes half
so
an hour.
you need to put office and field.
thinking that if we just simply make it simple and say some employees will be assigned 10-hour days, and then that way it varies, because sometimes other people are not gonna be assigned 10-hour days, they're gonna have, you know what I mean? So that spells it out that we have two different categories for working hours. Or but some employees, such as field workers. But see, then you also gotta worry about get Tiffany in there too, so just, I think, but some employees will be assigned 4 10-hour days a week with an hour notice.
Well, but no,
I
because,
think it needs to be spelled out.
because then because she's only working 4 days a week too, the front office.
Yeah, so the top
You
part
make
is
30
already
You
explained.
make 32 hours.
The top part spells out exactly what the billing code does. And exactly what temporary workers do if I have them come in and post notices, and exactly what people that need to be supervised would work when I need to be.
Can't you just say like employees other than front office and temporary or in special? Is
I just think I just think we're over explaining something that's so simple, because we have two different types of workers, and if we just lay it out, I think it says
so
exactly.
basically, everybody.
Well, your
is-
foot's on it. There you go.
Basically, everybody is I mean, I think it should be two separate things. I think you can just say the district is normally open for business, those hours. And then something to do more with the employees, because this normally open for business is walking in the front door, it has nothing to do with the field employees. Or even Tiffany, because Tiffany comes in early.
That's why I said that we would just simply put some employees
And
at our discretion. Some employees will be assigned work hours from 6 to 10, 6 to 5. It explains it, it's easy, it's not, the people that are assigned that, they're assigned that on the time clock, when I put them, when I hire them. That's what the time goes by, that's what everybody knows, you know, some people will be assigned different hours. But it's up, you know, whatever.
I just think it's two different thoughts, like the district being open is not really the work schedule. Right, district is open. for
That's why if
those
you add
hours.
something else down at the bottom that just says. Is this also,
What about the alternative work week schedules? It's right there, it's covered.
you will be assigned your individual work schedule?
So why do you leave off?
Oh, there you go. It's right there. If we finish the whole sentence, you will be assigned your individual work schedule. The district has implemented, and some employees will be assigned alternative work week schedules. All employees are expected to be at their desk or workstations at the start of their scheduled shifts and ready to work. It says right there, exactly. They've been assigned their work schedule.
My issue is it's only one employee that this applies to.
Just
Everybody
currently,
else-
right now, we've had plenty of times when other people fill in and they read meters and they do stuff that doesn't start at 6. Starts at 8.
This is why we never get through this.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but it's already
It's
there.
going on.
It already says what we need.
Meal and rest periods, rest breaks. All non-exempt employees are entitled to rest break periods during their workday. If you are a non-exempt employee, you will be paid for all such break periods and you will not clock out. You are authorized and permitted to take 1 10-minute break. 1 10-minute net rest break for every 4 hours of work you work or major fraction thereof. Meal period. All non-exempt employees who work more than 5 hours in a workday will be provided an uninterrupted, unpaid meal period of at least 30 minutes. You must clock out for your meal period. You will be permitted a reasonable opportunity to take this meal period and you will be relieved of all duty. If your total work period for the day is more than 5 hours per day, but no more than 6 hours, you may waive the meal period. This cannot be done without the mutual consent of you and the general manager. Overtime for non-exempt employees. Employees may be required to work overtime as necessary. The district will attempt to distribute overtime evenly and accommodate individual schedules. All overtime work must be previously authorized by the general manager. Only actual hours worked in a given workday or work week can apply in calculating overtime. approved paid absences, including but not limited to sick leave, vacation leave, holiday leave, military leave, jury and witness duty, funeral, bereavement leave, and voting time off are paid at the employee's regular rate of pay, but are not counted as time worked for the purposes of computing overtime. Although the district is only required to comply with overtime rules under the Federal Labor Standards Act, FLSA, which only provides for overtime when an employee works in excess of 40 hours in one work week. The district will pay overtime as follows. Non-exempt employees who work a traditional 8-hour workday will receive 1.5 times the regular pay for any hours worked over 8 hours per workday or over 40 hours in a work week. For any hours worked in excess of 12 per workday, the employee will receive 2 times their regular rate of pay. Non-exempt employees who work an alternative schedule of 10 hours per workday will receive 1.5 times their regular pay for any hours worked over 10 hours per workday or 40 hours in a work week. For any hours worked in excess of 12 per workday, the employee will receive 2 times their regular rate of pay. Employees on call and backup on call. To handle emergencies during the night or on weekends, certain employees will be on call. Any person on call or backup on call will receive a minimum 2 hours of pay based on their applicable overtime rate when called out after their normal shift. Any person on call or backup on call is required to be available to be reached by the answering service on their district supplied cell phone.
They don't have that.
Okay,
And we should have answering service here, because if we switch that, it's not gonna be.
Well, it's still, they may call and we may end up still having to have a backup answering service depending on how.
It just needs to be able to be.
If you just take the district supplied out, then it's.
Take out by the answering service. I guess it's-
Again, I'm thinking that we may end up having to have a backup answer service. Just in case, we'll see how it works, but
If you take it out, it doesn't matter. Any person on call or backup on call is required to be able to be reached. On their cell phone or arranged to be able to be reached. Whenever they are at all times, wherever they are at all times when they're on call. What if they need to be reached by you and not the answering service? So you know what I mean? It's why you have answering service.
yeah, take it out.
okay, any person on call or backup on call is required to be able to be reached
By cell phone
by cell phone.
or arranged to be able to be reached by
by
cell phone wherever they are at all times when they are on call.
write that down. The on-call and backup on-call persons will also receive a minimum of 2 hours pay based on their current overtime rate of pay for dates that rounds are required to be made on the weekends or holidays. The person on call is responsible for performing rounds on these days. Any person on call or backup on call must be within 45 minutes travel time of the district to respond to call outs. If this is not possible, arrangements must be made in advance to have someone else available to cover for them and approved by the general manager. Timekeeping requirements. All non-exempt employees are required to use the district's biometric fingerprint time clock to record time work for payroll purposes. Excuse me. Employees must clock in at the start and clock out at the end of each work period. Employees must clock out for the start and clock in at the end of the middle period. Employees must also record their time whenever they leave the building for any reason other than district business. Employees are not allowed to work off clock. Working off the clock violates district policy. Any work performed before or after a regularly scheduled shift must be approved in advance by the general manager. If you perform any off the clock work, please report the work to the general manager so you can be paid for your time. Employees will be required to certify that their time record is accurate.
Wait, why are we saying in there, if you perform any off the clock work? When we say employees are not allowed to work off the clock?
If they get to work early and find something, hey, I had to fix the gate because it wasn't open.
Yeah, something like that, then they have to run by me.
Well, not usual.
And a lot of times people clock out, they're on their way home, they see a leak happening. They're technically off the clock at
They
that
come
time,
back and they come
but they
back.
still have to work, so then they have to notify me so I can make those corrections.
You good? Here we go. Employees will be required to certify that their time record is accurate. Any changes or corrections to your time must be submitted to the general manager prior to processing of the payroll to allow correction of legitimate errors. Payment of wages. All employees of the district are paid every other Thursday for work performed during the previous 2-week pay period, 26 annual paychecks. If a regular payday falls on a holiday, employees will be paid on the last workday before the holiday. The district offers automatic payroll deposit. If you may begin and stop automatic payroll deposit at any time. To begin automatic payroll deposit, you must complete a form available from the general manager and return it to the general manager at least 10 days before the pay period for which you would like the service to begin. You should carefully monitor your payroll deposit statements for the first 2 pay periods after the service begins. To stop automatic payroll deposit, complete the form available from the general manager and return it to payroll at least 10 days before the pay period for which you would like the service to end. You will receive a regular payroll check on the first pay period after the receipt of the form, provided it is received no later than 10 days before the end of the pay period.
We don't have payroll, so to stop automatic payroll deposit, complete the form available from the general manager. And return it at least 10 days before the pay period. They can't return it to payroll. There is some payroll.
Everything else,
Turn the form,
they're gonna return it to the general manager.
yeah, you can put general manager, Diane payroll.
I don't even think you need to put it. It's to complete the form available from the general manager and return it at least 10 days.
Yep. Payroll, return.
Got that, Tim?
We good?
We're good.
Payment of wages. There that? Already do that one?
Yes, you just did that.
Oh, okay, thank you. Deductions from exempt employees. Employees paid on a salary basis regularly receive a predetermined amount of compensation each pay period. Subject to the exceptions listed below, exempt employees will receive a full salary for any work week in which they perform any work regardless of the number of days or hours worked. Exempt employees may not be paid for any work week in which they perform no work, subject to the district benefits programs and policies. No deductions from salary may be made for time when work is not available, provided the exempt employee is ready, willing, and able to work. Deductions from pay are permissible when an exempt employee is absent from work for 1 or more full days for personal reasons other than sickness or disability. Is absent for 1 or more full days due to sickness or disability if the deduction is made in accordance with a bona fide plan, policy, or practice of providing full compensation for salary loss due to illness and the employee has exhausted his or her leave under this policy. Or is absent for jury duty or military duty for a full week and performs no work during the week, or works less than a full week during the initial or final week of employment. Partial day deductions from available accrued vacation or sick leave balances will also be made by the district when applicable. It is district policy to comply with these salary basis requirements. Therefore, the district prohibits all district managers from making any improper reductions from the salaries of exempt employees. The district wants employees to be aware of this policy and to know that the district does not allow deductions that violate federal or state law. If you believe that an improper deduction from your salary has been made, you should immediately report this information to the general manager. Reports of improper deductions will be investigated promptly. It is determined that, if it is determined that an improper deduction has occurred, you will be promptly reimbursed for any improper deduction made. Safety and health. Employees who are requested to drive. Employees whose job duties require them to drive a district vehicle or their own vehicles for district business will be required to show proof of current valid driver's license and proof of insurability under the district's policy or current effective insurance coverage before the first day of employment. The district participates in a system that regularly checks State Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, records of all employees who are required to drive as part of their job. If an employee is required to drive as part of his or her job, the district retains the right to transfer to an alternative position, suspend or terminate an employee whose license is suspended or revoked, or who fails to maintain personal automobile insurance coverage, or who is uninsurable under the district policy. Health and safety. All employees,
Question. So do we have in here somewhere else when someone, about drug testing if they get in an accident?
Sure, yeah, there's a drug testing policy in here.
Yeah, that was under,
Because it seems like it should be under retrieved.
We had- That was a big deal last time we did this. Drug and alcohol abuse, let's see,
Yeah, I just wanna make sure it's in there.
that's,
That's page 37, drug and alcohol.
It doesn't say anything about driving.
see, I know it's in, here. Let's go see, where's that? I think it's under a right to drug and alcohol testing.
Yeah.
We need to make a note for Gary to put in. The right to on having an accident to drug testing.
require
Yeah,
Require
we gotta,
alcohol.
but it's gotta be worded. exactly
Correctly.
Legalese.
Because you're only allowed to do it.
Wins all expense paid trip to the.
Yeah, exactly. Escorted. There's a situation where it's prior employee years ago, escorted themselves and took an extra couple hours to get there and then tested negative. Okay, so,
Good.
yeah, now we're, what page? I'm sorry, I lost.
Health and
Health and
safety.
safety.
All employees are responsible for their own safety, as well as that of others in the workplace. To help us maintain a safe workplace, everyone must be safety conscious at all times. Report all work-related injuries or illnesses immediately to the general manager. Security. The district has developed guidelines to help maintain a secure workplace. Be aware of persons loitering for no apparent reason in parking areas, walkways, entrances, exits, and service areas. Report any suspicious persons or activities. Secure your desk or office at the end of each day. When called away from your work area for an extended length of time, do not leave valuable and or personal articles in or around your workstation that may be accessible. The security of facilities as well as the welfare of our employees depend upon the alertness and sensitivity of every individual to potential security risks.
The yellow in here I added.
All employees are responsible for setting the alarms on the office and corporate yard if they are the last to leave for the day. You should immediately notify the general manager when unknown persons are acting in a suspicious manner in or around the facility, or when keys, security passes, or identification badges are missing. Workplace violence. The district has adopted the following workplace violence policy to ensure a safe working environment for all employees. The district has zero tolerance for acts of violence and threats of violence. Without exception, acts and threats of violence are not permitted. A threat includes, but is not limited to, any indication of intent to harm a person or damage district property. All such acts and threats, even those made in apparent jest, will be taken seriously and will lead to discipline up to and including termination. Possession of weapons on district premises and to district-sponsored events shall constitute a threat of violence. It is every employee's responsibility to assist in establishing and maintain a violence-free work environment. Therefore, each employee is expected and encouraged to report any incident which may be threatening to you or your coworkers, or any event which you reasonably believe is threatening or violent. You may report an incident to the general manager. Return to work policy.
You may report, you must report, you should report it. May report,
I'd
it's
say
like
good, must is, might be,
heavy.
The direct order.
yeah, it may be something that you're not allowed to do if somebody.
Should, I think should.
Well, I think may imply.
It means you can or you don't have to, yeah. So you want to turn that to must
Should,
Good.
or should?
should is the kinder must.
Yeah.
The easier, softer must.
There you go. Okay, here we go. Return to work policy, RTW. In an effort to minimize serious disability due to on the job and off the job injuries and illnesses, and to reduce workers' compensation costs if applicable, the district has developed a return to work policy. This policy is intended to be consistent with the district's responsibilities under the law to provide reasonable accommodation for persons with eligible disabilities. The district will assist by directing the employee to appropriate care and assisting in proper reporting of the injury or illness while maintaining a positive and constant flow of communication with the injured worker. If reasonably available, the district will also assist in arranging work which meets light duty or other restrictions as needed to reduce lost time. The district will work with the workers' compensation carrier, if applicable, and the physician to assist with the assessment of the employee's ability to return to work. Together, the district will communicate with a treating physician in an effort to release the injured worker to work as soon as reasonably possible. By this joint effort, the district endeavors to help the injured ill worker recover at a more rapid rate, gain production for wages paid, minimize the employee's wage loss, and reduce workers' compensation costs.
I have an issue with that because it doesn't spell out. What happens when they aren't able to return to work, like how long, that's the thing that we always have issues with. Like the whole spelling out of at what point they are,
Well, there's no dictating how long they could be out if they're on workers' comp.
Yeah,
That's
saying
just
that,
question
and saying that the FPPU will do everything to return them to work, I think is what we want to do, and we want them to come back to it. We don't want them sitting at home.
I've asked, what do we do with somebody who's been off for over a year? Well, you still have to keep the job, but you have to hire them back when they're cleared by.
No, yeah. But you're not paying their, you know, we've been
Insurance.
overpaying stuff.
Okay, well, again, we bring that up, but the last time
There's
with
no-
John, when it happened, we rectified that. And
It needs to be in here from the
I
guys
think
that
that's, we
understand.
need to look back to employee benefits and see what it is, because if that's following state law.
Yeah,
So,
it needs to just
We
be
need to
written
add
out
a note to Jerry to add about,
what the law is,
employee benefits being terminated, after whatever the. legal-
because they're not terminated, they first say, well, they have to apply for COBRA, we help them with that, we pay a certain amount of time.
We have to offer-
That doesn't mean that they're gone, it just means that if
Okay.
they're gone over.
Before I just say, I'm terminating benefits. Not the employee. We can't dictate when we're gonna terminate the employee.
Just need that verbiage in here, they need to be able to.
Okay,
Page 47 is wrong, is that right?
yeah,
Is that? Is there a reason for that?
page 48, termination.
Wait, why do we have a blank page, it needs to go away?
I don't know. Maybe they leave it in there, maybe they put it in there written, but we would.
No, that's dumb.
I mean, it's like when you have. It
It
should
was
say,
asked them.
it should be staying left.
Because when legal documents that I received, and there's an empty page in, they type across the bottom, this page has been.
Yeah, but.
But we can also just take it out.
It's given.
Anyway.
What's going on, he's gonna make a note to.
It's a binding document.
Yeah.
Involuntary termination. Violation of district policies and rules may warrant disciplinary action. The district has a system of discipline that may include verbal warning, written warning, and suspension. The system is not formal, and the district may, in its sole discretion, utilize whatever form of discipline is deemed appropriate under the circumstances up to and including immediate termination of employment. The district's discipline policy in no way limits or alters the at-will employment relationship. If an employee is terminated, all district assets in their possession will immediately be secured. All personal matters will be addressed with a general manager, and all customer issues influenced by the employee departure resolved. Reductions in force. Under some circumstances, the district may need to restructure or reduce its workforce. If restructuring our operations or reducing the number of employees becomes necessary, the district will attempt to provide advance notice, if possible, to help prepare affected individuals. If possible, employees subject to layoff will be informed of the nature of the layoff and the foreseeable duration of the layoff, whether short-term or indefinite. Excuse me. Voluntary resignation. Voluntary resignation results when an employee voluntarily quits his or her employment at the district or fails to report to work for 3 consecutively scheduled workdays without notice to or approval by the district, unless the absence is protected by law. All district-owned property, including but not limited to vehicles, keys, uniforms, identification badges, and credit cards, must be returned immediately upon termination of employment. Employee references. All requests for references must be directed to the general manager. No other manager, supervisor, employee is authorized to release references for current or former employee. By policy, the district discloses only the dates of employment and the title of the last position held by former employees. If you authorize the disclosure in writing, the district will also. There's 2 wills there. The district will inform prospective employers of the amount of salary or wages you last earned.
Is that right?
No, we're gonna eliminate one will.
Gotta take out one.
Come on. Confirmation of receipt.
We need something else in here, hold on, I just got lost it when I was looking for Will, Keep going,
It'll come back. I have received my copy of the Fraser Park Public Utility District Employee Handbook. Revised September 20. I understand and agree that it is my responsibility to read and familiarize myself with the policies and procedures contained in the handbook. I understand and agree that nothing in the handbook creates or is intended to create a promise or representation of continued employment, and that the employment of the district is employment at will. Employment may be terminated at the will of either the district or myself, period. My signature certifies I understand that the foregoing agreement on at-will status is the sole and entire agreement between the district and myself concerning the duration of my employment and the circumstances under which my employment may be terminated. It supersedes all prior agreements, understandings, and representations concerning my employment with the district. Stop there until Lisa asks a question.
So I would like in here somewhere, because it's not in here that I remember towards the beginning. I don't know how to word it exactly, but something that says that employees are not required to take requests from the board or anything that they need to, anything that needs to be addressed to an employee will come from the general manager, just something, I don't know how to word it.
I think it should say if a board member instructs you to do something, you're to notify the general
general
manager
manager.
immediately. And then in the district's policies for board members,
It needs to
it
say
needs to
something. else.
specify that
Refrain
too.
from.
Yeah.
Trying to give direct
Right.
orders.
Unless you have 3 or more. Got no status. I mean, as far as being a boss or whatever. You gotta.
We're your boss.
Yeah, you're my boss. Yeah, but you individually can't tell me what to do. Unless it's the will of the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just
Jerry
wanted it
Garcia,
here
Jerry,
because
Okay, never got that.
We've had,
Jerry never got it.
he's not the only one that never got it.
No.
We've had multiple board members,
Just
so I just want, I want them to understand in the handbook that they do not. that
You
if
put it
that
under the
happens-
harassment policy.
No, it's not harassment, I think.
I didn't,
they-
I meant in that section, because that's
Yeah.
kind of where it's spelling out things that you don't have, it could be a separate heading.
Yeah.
But it
You are
in that
my
area
item.
is what I'm saying.
Okay, last
That's
paragraph.
pretty good.
I understand that except for employment. I understand that except for employment at will status. Any and all policies or practices can be changed at any time by the district. The district reserves the right to change my hours, wages, and working conditions at any time. I understand and agree that other than the general manager of the district, no manager, supervisor, or representative of the district has authority to enter into any agreement express or implied, that should be expressed. Express or implied for employment for any specific period of time or to make any agreement for employment other than at will. Only the general manager has the authority to make any such agreement and then only in writing signed by the general manager. Employee's signature, employee's printed name and date. And a copy should be kept by the district and one given.
I like to add one thing there. It's not just the way to change it to some working conditions, but also a position or, because you're allowed to take away the lead position and it needs to say that.
Yeah.
Next,
Okay.
I will.
Okay, need a motion to,
I will make a motion. Now that we've gone through the handbook, to send it on to Jerry Pearson. The attorney,
With all the,
with all the amendments that we have discussed. And have him review them. And get back to us.
Then send it back with the change.
Send back the
get
changes.
back to us now.
Is that how you guys are doing it, emailing?
That's
back
how
and
we're gonna
forth?
get it to him.
Okay, then through, yeah,
But then if he's,
If you just put return to the district, you don't have to specify how to get it here.
No, but
The
then.
thing is, we want the electronic copy, the electronic version. Returned, which would better suited by email. So that we can make changes if you guys need to or want to.
Right, but my issue is in the motion, I would like to see it address the fact that we're gonna look. Or agree that this is okay once it's gone to Jerry Pearson, we're not just gonna, it goes to him and then it's done. That we,
I
Make
guess
sure that
that
it's-
implied that at all, meant if
No, I
you
know.
return to the district, so. All right,
will you add that in some way, I don't.
to be further reviewed by the board. Return to us to be further reviewed by the chair.
Several people.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I will move. Now that we have reviewed the employee handbook. That we now send it on to our attorney Jerry Pearson. For review with all of our amendments. And changes. And have him return. His version back to us as a district. And at which time the board will then look at it and review it. Yes, final review and accept the handbook.
I'll second that motion.
Hallelujah.
Okay, a motion has been made by Director Kelly and seconded by Director Nyman. Roll call directors, Director Garcia. Director Nyman. Director Schoenberg. Director Kelly. Gibson's an aye. 500, motion carried, passed.
Record would be proud of you guys, then we fired.
Discussion vote on future agenda items.
Were we supposed to go over the letter from Lawrence? Did you include it? No?
I didn't get
No, I think
I didn't get one.
don't know what you're talking about. You're the only one we got.
Don't know, Willie.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Well, you got all the agenda items for the 13th, right? Are you gonna go over the letter then, or no? We're not doing that.
She's gonna look at the letter, you're gonna,
Okay,
sign.
okay.
Yeah, that's about before the 13th because of Tiffany's.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
Okay, motion has been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Kelly. Roll call directors, Director Garcia. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. 500, motion carried. We are
Oh, you
adjourning
guys are good. Thank you.
at 7:30.
How long, we hadn't touched it